Well, good afternoon. It's Thursday, everybody. I'm back from Canada. So back to the lives coming to you in the group for the love of dragons. My name is Araya Anra. If you don't know me, I am a psychic medium, energy healer, life coach, and dragon guide. So I love this part of my week. I have spent so much of my time working with, for, and through the dragons, and I'm just on a high from coming back from Canada, having had a wonderful week of activations I want to fill you guys in on, as well as a workshop. What an incredible group of people. We ended up having, I think there were 22 of us all told, including myself and the interpreter, and my French was on cue. It was really wonderful to use it and do the meditations live in French. Hello, Teen Marie. And just have a whole new set of people excited about and working with the dragons that could get all their questions answered right there. And it was perfection. It was really a divine unfolding. So I'm really grateful that I got to go up and be there. Really exciting that I got to connect with two of the women from Canada, from that region, who had been in one of my book clubs. So I got to stay with them, actually see them and meet them live in both of their different localities. And I got to taste the ever famous poutine, which is the national dish up there, which is French fries with this like farmer's cheese crumble in it and gravy. I gotta say, you can't not like it. Anything that's deep fried, full of gravy and cheese, it's all what everybody's all about, right? It was really a treat. So thank you, Canada, for the hospitality. And wanted to share with you guys, there were some pretty neat things that happened besides that. We had the activation of the massive female air dragon who sits under the tectonic plates of North America on that eastern shoreboard. Her head is down towards Georgia and the lower southern states, and her wings go up over northern Canada. But her heart space is centered in Montreal. And so this large region that ended up being a full geometric activation of 5 different points that created a perfect pentagon when I mapped it out. It was absolutely incredible to see how it came out on the map. And each of those points, interestingly enough, looked very similar geographically when I got to each one. They were all over body water, be it a river, a lake, all fresh water. And the geometry, when I connect with my dragon hearts to do those activations, Metatron's cube actually clicks in and sets into motion, and a massive pillar opens up. And in each one of those, the geometry was in the water. And we know that the air dragon is all about perspective and wisdom centers and clearing our genetic lineages and so higher things with the spine. But the heart center is all about emotion. It's about water. Our emotional body, our water body. The water dragons are the ones that actually heal and clear the heart. But this space being her heart, I thought it was so interesting how it ended up being about all the water in the area. Hi, Annabelle. There's one of my dragon hearts now who was part of that. And feeling the geometries kick into place in each one. And then having the mountain in the center, Mont Royal in the center of Montreal, being the center core of that. With the 5 rays of light out to each of the pentagon points. It was very powerful and it was very exciting. What was also exciting is I found out the day before I went there from my friend that I was staying with that Mont Saint Hilaire has this lake that it's about an hour, maybe not quite that far from Montreal up to the northeast. Nice flat land, like agricultural land. And all of a sudden there's this big rise. Big sort of like small mountain, Mont Saint Hilaire. Her group had been taken there because there's actually a crystal apparently growing and rising in the bottom of the lake. And I didn't do research. I just went because I was on my time schedule and I could get there, but I need to do some reading up on it and some research to see how they're measuring it or how they know. But there's apparently a crystal growing. Felt very connected to Lemuria rising, which made all of our spines tingle when we were talking about it the other day. But what I found interesting is checking it out from Google Earth. Looking at it, you can see the 2 dragons laying in land, almost like a perfect yin-yang around this lake, guarding it. And I shared into the group when I went up there to actually feel the area and make sure the dragons were awake or if they needed anything. All of a sudden, this dragon shows up in the trees, and I shared the post, I think it was yesterday, with the beautiful green, brilliant green dragon coming out and looking across the lake at me. And that was really fun to experience. So look into Mont St. Hilaire, see what you see about that. You can do it on Google Earth and see where the dragons lay in the land. I could definitely feel them when I was up there. And that's the kind of thing that when you're in an area, part of the work, part of the reason, hi Nancy, that we're in this group and talk about this is your experiences with the dragons. This is about you waking up to your connection and what's in your area that might need your assistance, that might need your energy, that might need you to help them awaken or be released, or portals that are connected to the dragon grids that maybe are part of you. And it brings in this question that I had from one of the members, Linda, actually, who's up in the Canadian region. She had a question last week that I wanted to share that was, is there a reason that my dragon guides and dragon self are so large? Because she had an experience where it felt like they were like 22 feet across with the wingspan. And 22 feet, for those of you that are in meters, is like 7 meters across. Hey, Adriana. And this is like quite normal to be quite large. And obviously it was a new experience for her. She couldn't understand why. Why are they so large? Well, we are actually very large beings, and 22-foot wingspan is actually one of the smaller scale dragons that you might come across. They're large because they are expansive beings. They're living in their full expansiveness. And yes, they make a big impression when they come across large, but so do you. And part of them showing up large for you is for you to remember your largeness, your massive abilities, gifts, true size, true self. When you're in this, hi Rainey, when you're in this small little human body that we're all here experiencing, and in it to be that human interface for being the ones to open these portals, because that was another question recently as well. Why do they need us? What do the dragons need us for? Hi, Liz. If they're these massive multidimensional beings and they're so aware and they have all this, why don't they just activate it themselves? Why do they need us? Anything that's happening in the human realm needs a human interface. So that's where we come in. And because the human interface is this small little body, well, if you've been this big expanded being out in multidimensional spaces and you are experiencing it here, when you expand yourself back out, as you keep unfolding into the truth of who you are, you expand back out into that realization, into that reality. And here Adriana is saying, what about size shifting dragons? They change sizes from massive to incredibly small. Yes, and I'll address that. So her question was, Linda's question was, why are they so large? Well, one is it gets your attention, doesn't it? Two, it's to help you remember how large you actually are. And that when you get out of the interface of this body and actually allow yourself to expand, you'll have memories of when you were much larger and how much bigger the universe is than maybe you perceive it or allow it to be. That it's there in your memory, you just need to access it. And so, yes, Adriana, thanks for bringing that in. This capacity of the dragons, I've led meditations and had experiences myself where they might come in and be full force in front of you in a very massive, impressive, imposing way. And part of what they're doing is that imposing. It's almost a test. Like, are you going to back off? Are you going to get scared? Are you going to run away from me? Are you in your heart? Are you in your courage? Are you going into fear? All this is going on when you're first experiencing them. And they're there with this massive heart. And part of that is the massiveness too. Is they want you to feel how big that heart space is that they hold. And they can be in front of you and be this massive, giant thing in front of you. And then they can also shrink down to be the size of your fingernail and go into one of the spaces in your body and show you how they shift in size and morph to go into where they need to go. Because that's a reminder of how things operate in the universe. That time and space are not what we limit and believe them to be. And it works in both macrocosm and microcosm, on the scales of reality, on the scales of experience. So why do they come in with that? Why do they allow these opportunities? They're helping you remember. They're triggering all kinds of things to get you to remember your hugeness, your ability to manipulate and move yourself through tiny spaces, through those spaces in between, in the time-space continuum, to enter a parallel reality or something right here that's a multidimensional aspect that you just need to remember you know how to do. So I love these conversations. I love how this came up as a single question, and now it's got multiple facets to it, right? So this was the fun thing about the workshop, and that we got to do it live. And so I'm really excited about the French workshop coming up. We are going to be doing just the Lyon location for now. We're going to focus on just that one and having everybody pulled together into that one region. But that's coming up. So June 28th to the 30th. If you're in anywhere in Europe, try to make it to that one. We have, though, also coming up the next book club. So for those of you in the States or any English-speaking countries, the next one is going to be in English again. I will probably be scheduling one in French. We had that request over the workshop from Montreal, that there's enough of a group ready to do it in French, so we might just do that. Could be a good challenge for myself. But the book club is going to be on Wednesdays this time around. It's going to start July 24th. And Nancy's saying, I often go hiking on Mount St. Hilaire. The longest trail is a magical with elves and fairies. There were so many, thanks for bringing that in, Nancy. There were so many elves and fairies in the Devic Kingdom connected in that region. I know that's part of the reason the dragons are there holding space with that, and why it just sort of pops out of nowhere on the geographic plane. It's like just agricultural fields, and then boop, this perfect rise of these two dragons laying there in a perfect yin-yang holding the space of it. And hi, Hannah, how are you doing? Anyway, so the next book club, which is a great way to get in, you know, maybe there's not a workshop in your area. If you want one, as I told people that were really frustrated that it was so far away in France, I am open to being invited to places. I am open to coming. If you have an area where you can get 20 or 30 people together in a space where we can work, I will come. Because it's super fun. It's what I love to do, and it's what I'm here to do, is help wake you guys up and answer your questions, get you on track with your own work. And to help do that here, while I can't always travel everywhere, we're going to do one with another book club, which is way more than a book club everybody always talks about. And that's going to be July 24th to, I believe it's August 28th. Runs 2 hours a week for 6 weeks. It does always sell out, so if you're interested in it, definitely message me so I'll get you on the short list to be notified. Because that is such a fun way to experience the dragons and build community and meet some of your dragon family. It's very informal discussion, but it goes off on lots of different aspects of the work and metaphysics and the subjects. And it also brings in a meditation every week so that you have a lot of transformation coming in a very short time, because you start getting instilled with those energies. The dragons start working through you, and that's really what it's about. We do have a few spots left for Tibet. We are over half full, so that's very exciting, and getting just so ready for that. So if Tibet is still calling you, please message me as well for that information, because that is going to be a powerhouse trip that many of you that connect to the concept of Dragon Samurai or that region of the world that have been there working in a human interface body as monks with the dragons in the region. Lots of us have had those incarnations in that region for a reason, to hold that energy and now release it. So we are going to be doing a lot more activations there. And if you have questions, goodness, bring them on. Send them, post them, put them in the comments, because I keep track of those, and I do have some more for the next weeks. But this is how I serve you guys. This is about what you need. And I would love to come to Hawaii too, Leanna, if you think there's enough interest and can start pulling a group together. Old stomping grounds. I know I used to live in Hawaii and I love it there. My kids love it there and they would love me to go teach over there. So let's pull it together. I am totally open to that. And anyway, what I was saying, I'm here for you guys. I'm here to give you the tools you need. I'm starting to come up with some more. I'm going to have some more live meditations available through the website. And I'm going to have the book coming out in print on demand very soon. I'm getting that this week, the final stuff from the designer. And hello, Linnell, good to see you. Tools for you guys. One of those is these mini readings we do every now and then. And I have my list of people that are on my readings to get one. And the next one is Danielle Harper. So Danielle, I'm going to tune into you. I hope you're listening today or catch it on the replay. And I will say I have a list. I'm going to keep it as a finite list for now, because I got into the bad habit of not having time for everybody, putting them on a list so I'd eventually get to them. And I think I need to start really rewarding the people that are on the lives if they want that live mini dragon reading when I do them. So I am going to do Danielle Harper. And then you know what, June? You've been very patient. You're a ways down the list, but you've been on the last 2 lives, so I'm going to reward that and do yours today as well. And since you're here, I'm going to start with you. So, June, let's tune into your dragons, your team. So immediately, June, as I pull in your dragon frequencies, the dragons that are working around you, there's the energy or the color of what feels like a snowflake. So that similar color to like that glacier ice blue, a very networky, frilly pattern, much like a snowflake. But let me tune in if it does feel like a she is actually like an ice dragon, or if that's just the visual that I'm being shown. So she's not from the ice realms. She's not an ice dragon per se, but that is her her color. She does work in the water dragon lineage. So it's like having a frequency that is connected into the heartline, but takes it more into, feels like a finesse of the heart space. Because this aspect of the, like when you look at snowflakes and the pattern is so detailed and perfect and delineated, like there's such attention to detail in her patterning and finesse. Finesse is the word that keeps coming with that. She is here to help you finesse your energy streams. So in tuning in with her, and I feel like her name, you can call her Snowflake. Let me ask there, because I feel like there's another sound sequence that goes with her. So I'm not able to put syllables to it. What's coming is, with that snowflake, it's like a pattern of, like if you were to play, a way to help connect with her is going to be to play like a really high frequency chime. I just picked one up in Canada. There's like wind chimes that have the different elements, air, earth, fire, and water. If you were to play just a wind chime or a chime of some sort that's very crystalline, even like crystals hitting off of each other, a very high, that sound would help bring her in, or you'd feel her frequency around. You'll feel her like that. You're going to feel her essence against your skin and your back, as if it's like feathery, as very finessed and fine, like that tinkling bells. There it is, tinkling bells hitting your field. So you'll feel her energy like that. It's a very fine, intricate, detailed energy, and it hits just like crystal bells hitting your skin. It feels very connected to the fairy realms, actually. So there's something about helping you, and I don't know if you do energy work, June, but something about finessing your ability with energy and getting more accurate within it and more refined within it, in the frequencies that, how you're working with energy, it's like bringing detail into it somehow. So I hope that's helpful to you. And yeah, what's interesting, I do have wind chimes outside my window, Linnell. So I know that's sort of in the background, and that's why it took me so long to tune in, because I'm trying to separate that from what I'm hearing internally with these tiny like fairy bells hitting my inner field. So I love that. So June, I hope that's helpful, and thank you for your patience in waiting to have that little mini reading. Let's see. There's a question up here going back to Sandra. How do I find out? You're a Reiki healer. Yes. How do I find out which dragon I have around me? I'm in Canada. So Sandra, I would say either next time that I'm taking more names onto the list, or doing lives to catch in with that. But if you just tune in, and if you have the book and read through where they hit in the body, the air, the earth, the fire, and the water, where they're working in the body, you'll get a sense of the elementals, of which one's working with you. You can also use, if you use dowsing rods or a pendulum to get yes, no's, or if you have a rock system of maybe the rock feeling hot or cold in your hand, if it's a yes or a no. Use yes, no questions to determine if you're getting a sense of something around you and want to get closer to what it is without actual like guidance from someone like myself that can go in. So June, yeah, I feel that you had some kind of a healing ability with your hands. So with that, with your dragon guides, finessing and refining that energy into, I feel like you're connected to the fairy realms, finessing that into something that is more specific with that Reiki energy and how it can come through you. That it's like a massive energy flow that can come through, and you working almost like having snowflake patterns in your hands that don't create like a funnel, but in the same way they create like a sieve or a thing that refines the energy down to go more specifically into different parts of the body in a more direct, fine-tuned way than general Reiki. So I hope that makes sense and helps. And I'm going to go in because I said I would to Danielle Harper. So going in, let's see, Danielle. Immediately feeling orange and black. Two separate dragons with you, Danielle, and they both have, one is orange, one is black, but it's almost like they work together all the time. I'm getting that real sense of like, almost like pumpkin Halloween fall feeling, seeing their fields because they're both very vibrant. So if you can imagine a black that's vibrant and almost glowing like orange glows. Interestingly, Danielle, the black one feels, they actually both feel like male energy. And I feel like it almost feels like they're in a protective space around you, that you're doing some deep inner work. I don't know if you have a connection to witchcraft or sorcery or memories that they're trying to take you back into to remember some things that need to be healed from that within yourself. But I see you delving into some shadow work or darker energies that might feel like you need to be in a protective space. And so these two are actually working and holding space around you for you to be able to drop very deeply into that. So allow yourself to keep searching, allow yourself to keep diving, and know that you are protected and they've got your back. And they're glowing. They're almost like from the sun or the solar, what I would call solar dragons. But that energy, when I go into that, it's more like magma. That they're somehow linked between, and that it's that inner core fire, that liquid fire of the magma and the solar dragons. There's some connection there. And just trying to see if there's a way to call them in if you need to. Pitch. For some reason I'm hearing pitch and Rastar. I thought it was Rasta at first. I thought, isn't that funny? Like Rastafarian? Or what is that? And Rastar. And pitch, the black one is like pitch black. That it's to draw you into the energy of that pitch, like tar, pitch. It's not so much about knowing their names as much as the frequency to feel them. And Rastar is somehow connected to a, feels like the core of a star, the core of something that's burning. And both of those names are helping you reconnect to some places that you've spent some time. It's part of the shadow diving. It's part of this deep, almost like dredging of what you're going into to go back into and remember in order to move through and remember the gifts that you had with that connection to sorcery and witchcraft, but also healing some stuff there, that there's some things that were unfinished that you need to go in and do on a soul level and they've got your back for it. They're with you for that and trying to help you remember those realms. So Danielle, when you watch this, I hope you connect with that and that it's helpful. Hello, Renana, good to see you. And yes, June, you're so welcome. Always a pleasure to see you guys. I feel like that's enough for this Thursday. Looking forward to next week. I will be back just for next week, and then it's going to be spotty again because I'm heading to Europe to do the teaching over there. So hopefully we'll have a little more consistent access to internet. I found myself very limited up in Canada, which was a nice break, I'll be honest. Anytime I can get away from the screens is always a good thing for my psyche and my rest pattern and my kids. But I think what I'll do is just do them more regularly, or at least once a week, but maybe it won't be at 2 o'clock in the middle of the day, so you might be catching replays on those unless you're live in Europe, because I do have a lot of Europeans on. Hello, Sue, speaking of one. And so you guys might catch a perfect timed evening one over there when I'm over there and have an internet connection. So always good to see you guys. We'll see you next week, and have a lovely weekend. Bye.